Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and things that have happened to me and little learning experiences that I've picked up along the way. And today I want to talk about something that I referenced in my main channel video that went up today. And that is that I was talking in there about the idea of being bullied. But I want to talk on here today, I talked on that channel about what to do with that. But I want to talk on here today about what I have done with that. And I want to talk about an experience that I had in my life that was pivotal to who I am as a person today, not just in reference to being bullied, you know, and I don't want to get on here and tell details and tell facts and all that kind of stuff of what happened to me from grade 1 all the way through my senior year, you know. There becomes a point when you have to let go of the story of your past, and that you realize that story doesn't define you, and you realize it's okay to talk about that if we talk about it in the context of a greater story and what we've learned from that. But to just go over it again and again and again is, you know, it becomes repetitive to ourselves. And I think at some point it does us more damage than good, if that makes sense. It's like you relive the pain over and over and over again. So I don't want to go there in discussing that unless I'm going to talk about it in context of what do you do about that. But what I want to talk about today is this experience that I had related to being bullied that was so pivotal and so profound to me that it really gives me a lesson on how to approach the world, how to approach each person that I come in contact with. So real quick, I am going to give a few facts because it's important to the story. From my, let's say, freshman through senior year in high school, I had a team of bullies, okay? And they were mostly the jocks in high school. They were mostly the guys that were on the football team, on the wrestling team. They were bigger than me and all that kind of stuff. And there was one of them that was the court jester. I think he was like a wrestler, but I don't think he was anything else. He was like a little guy. And that's kind of what's funny about all this, was like he was like this little guy, you know, he wasn't big, he wasn't like, I wasn't physically intimidated by him, but he was the ringleader of all of these guys. And, you know, they would come down the hall, and if I was standing there, they'd flinch at me, and they'd, you know, push me up against the locker, and they'd write horrible things on my locker wall. And I mean, if it has happened, I have received it. Let's just say it that way. I've even talked on here about how one person followed me home and drove into my driveway, not just once, but more than that, and said that I had to do certain things, or they would tell on me, and I ran inside. And but I never said anything about it because I was terrified, you know? And so this guy, I don't know that he knew the extent to where the bullying went. Like, I don't know that he ever realized how hard it was for me. But this went so deep that on the day that we graduated, we all put like senior wills out. And he put out, so like senior wills, you would will your friends things like, you know, oh, spring break, you know, 1987, or, you know, our car rides through the country or something. You like funny things that are personal, you will to them. Does that make sense? And he willed the entire football team my ass. Now, imagine what that's like as a senior, the day you're graduating, which should be an exciting day for you, and you're walking through the hallways and everybody is laughing at you, and you are the pit of everybody's joke, okay? And that was what was so important to him. The attention and the need for laughter was so important that he was willing to do anything to take me down. And I don't even really think it was about me. I don't. And I know that. I really just think that I was the easiest target. You know what I mean? And I never stood up for myself. I never fought back. I never said anything. Had I have been told it probably would have been different. And the reason I know that was that 10 years ago, when Facebook came out, I got on Facebook. We all get on Facebook. It's all for grandmas now, right? All those old people out there on Facebook. Kids don't get on Facebook anymore. But back in the day, they would like tag people in notes. And, you know, like you would put like this note out, you know, and it'd be like 10 things. And the one I got tagged in was 10 things that people don't know about me from high school. And so like, I like wrote my 10 things, and they were all like my favorite like song. They were all this. And the last 2 things were that the day that I graduated from high school, number 9 was the day that I graduated from high school, I was terrified that I would walk across the stage and that tons of people would yell the F word and my mother would have to hear it. That was my fear, because I was so protective of my mom ever knowing, you know, what had happened to me. And the 10th thing was that I was terrified to go to school every day because I didn't know what was going to happen next. So I posted this on Facebook not thinking anything about it. And my biggest bully, the court jester, reaches out to me and sends me this very, very endearing message about how he now has kids and he has grown up and he knew that I was talking about him and that he felt horrible for what had happened and he had stayed up all night long talking to his wife about it and he was crying and he was upset and would I be willing to meet him for coffee? Well, I like to think of myself as a sympathetic person, but that's a hard thing, you know? That this person that has ruined years of your life, that you go and you sit down and have coffee with that person. But I did. I thought, you know what? I can't live with anger and hatred in my heart. I have to move on. So we went and we had coffee and we talked. And he said, I want to hear from your perspective what it was like. He took total responsibility. And then he said, I want you to know what my life was a little bit like in high school. And the things that he told me were horrible, you know? I wasn't aware of what was going on behind the scenes in his personal life, you know? I didn't know that just like me, he lacked confidence and he felt alone. I didn't know just like me, you know, that he didn't feel good about himself when he came to school. I didn't know like me that he didn't know if people really liked him or not. And what I realized was we were very much alike. We were very similar. And we became really good friends after that. And I'm very proud to call him one of my good friends today. And you know what's interesting is he came and my husband and I have done anti-bullying campaigns through our whole life, and he would come to all these events because he felt the need to be there. And finally, after like 10 of them, I said, okay, you don't need to come to anything else. Like, I appreciate it. Thank you for being supportive, but you don't need to come to anything else. But what I realized through that, you know, is that through forgiveness, through understanding, through love and compassion, through listening to each of our stories and realizing that there are similarities, not differences, and looking at those similarities as a human experience, not what separates us as the differences, then maybe we can understand one another and love one another a little bit more and start putting that out in the world and starting to try to heal the world instead of trying to separate the world. Because that's what I want to do. I want to bring people together out of love and laughter. I don't want to tear people apart. And so I think for all of us to imagine coffee shop conversations of sitting down with the person that we have the most difficulty with, forgiving them out of our hearts, and sitting and listening to their story and understanding where they're coming from might enlighten all of us. At least I can only hope. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.